Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Phoebe and this is my Flosstube channel, Moonshine Stitchery, if you're new here. This is a channel about cross stitch. So I hope that you enjoy something that you see here today. I'm going to be sharing with you everything that I stitched on in the last 2 weeks and my plans for what's upcoming. I do have a finish today, a new start, and a number of works in progress. And at the very end of the video, I'm going to share with you all of the books that I've been reading / listening to in the last 2 weeks as well. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it. I hope you've been having a great past couple weeks. I certainly have. I've been able to stitch a lot on things that I'm really enjoying, and yeah, it's been helping me not be so sad about the heat. I've never been a summer fan. I have a lot of heat trauma from when I was a kid in California and not having air conditioner and just being miserably hot for the full months of the summer. So I just always can't wait for fall. I love it so much. So anyway, I just always feel like I'm just like hanging on, just trying to get through the summer. But cross stitch makes everything okayer, as Lucy Beam likes to say. So we're gonna get into it. So I'm gonna start with my finish, which is an exciting one because it's my 2 strands a day. And so I've been sharing with this one with you a lot, and it is done. Whoops, I forgot to iron this before filming this video. So this is Halloween This Way from Primitive Hare, and it is all finished. So if you're not new to my channel, you are well acquainted with this project. It is my oldest WIP, or it was, and so I was working on it 2 strands a day until it is finished. This is stitched 2 over 2 on 30 count. The big spell linen from Primitive Hare. This is the called for fabric, and yeah, I loved it. I loved every single stitch of it. It is just the perfect amount of primitive and a little quirky. So my oldest son's name is actually Salem, so it made it extra fun that that's what the top signpost says. So it says Salem, Sleepy Hollow, Flying School, Sanderson House. That one's a little hard to read. And then it says Black Cats on Request. And then we have Ghost Crossing and Halloween Town and Dead End. So last time you saw this, I just had to finish filling in Dead End, and then I had all these spiders to finish. So I got all of the called for floss. I did not have enough of the black that they called for, which is, I'll think of it in a second. But anyway, all of the like spiders and things are done just using DMC 310 because I ran out at the very end of Dead End, and then I was like, oh, perfect. And then I realized I had spiders to do and stuff. So the back stitching detailing on that's really fun. And I just love it. So I am super excited to have this finished, which means I get to have a new 2 strands a day. And so you'll see what that is in just a minute, and I love that project as well, so I'm very excited. And so yeah, this will be the last time you see this lady for a long time, unless for some reason I'm showing you, like, you know, I have a finish parade or something sometime in the future. So I'm gonna get her framed up and ready for Halloween. So my new start is a patriotic start, and this is actually a gift from my friend Heidi from Whips and Kits, and she sent me this as an early birthday present, and we saw this all stitched up when we were at Country Sampler together, and it's just so cute when you see it in person. And so she sent me this from Country Sampler for my birthday. So it all came all kitted up, and it has the finishing material that you need, and it's just perfect. So she sent it kitted up to me on a 20 count natural so that it would be bigger. And I actually stitched it, at first I got it out and I stitched it to see what it would be like if I did over 1, and it would only be like this big tall, and it would be incredibly cute. But since she sent it to me on this big amount of fabric, I decided to do it the way this kit is intended. So here is my start on the 4th of July. And if I didn't say, I don't think I did, this is Faded Flag, a skinny mini pattern from October House Fiber Arts. I don't think I've started anything from that brand, but I do love them. So Here's how it's looking. So I'm doing 2 strands over 2 on this 20 count. And so this is all of the space of the stars portion. And then I think this goes down 1 more row down here, and that's how tall it will be. And then it will go wide. And it's so cute. And I already have the stuff to finish it and everything. So I was so pleased. She messaged me on the 4th of July. She's like, I think you should probably open that package I sent you. And so I was able to start it on the 4th of July. I did also stitch on my other patriotic stitch on the 4th of July, but I also started this new start. So I'm super, super excited. Okay, let me share with you what my new 2 strands a day is going to be. So after I finished Primitive Hare, Halloween This Way, my next oldest whip that I still have going is, ta-da! So I was so excited when I got out my whip journal to see what my next stitch was going to be. So this is Mirabilia Garden Prelude, and I can't remember if I quite have it out to the width. I don't think I do, but over here where the arch is, that is how far it's going to go on that side. So I'm stitching this on the called for wide shelf fabric. So nothing too fancy for my very first Mirabilia. I didn't really think of doing it on something different, but I love this one. You can see her violin bow is just starting to come in here. I just put that in last night. And so this is the violinist in the garden, and it's so beautiful. And I have so many more Mirabilias I want to start, so I'm really excited. I will be stitching on this every day till it's finished. So I still have a massive amount to do, because as you can see, her whole dress is basically not even in there. I have started putting in some of her skin. I'm going to do her skin over 1. This is stitched with all of the called for floss and on the called for fabric. And as you can see, I've been beading as I'm going, although I haven't beaded in a minute. So what I've done this last week, now working on this only 2 strands a day when you want to pull out a Mirabilia feels like you did nothing, because you get in and you're just like, oh, I'm going to fill all this stuff in. But you know, it's like you gotta pace yourself. So I shouldn't have this needle right in here by your head. So I was working in this bow mostly and in her hair. And actually, one of the days I filled in more of this. So yeah, you are gonna see this every day till it's finished. I love her, love her, love her. I thought the next one I wanted to start was Nightingale, but I think that every time I see anybody stitching on the Gypsy Queen, I'm just like awestruck of the colors in that one. So yeah. So that's my first whip. Okay, now I'm not gonna go in any particular order, but I'm just gonna pull stuff. So one of my other things I stitched on, actually I think I just stitched on this yesterday on the 13th. This is a Supernatural Sal by the Witchy Stitcher, and as you can see, I only have 2.5 characters left to go. I love this stitch along. It combines all of this beautiful goth filigree and fonting, and just I love all of that in there on each character. And then it's just really fun too, because you have character, you have the cartooning of all of these spooky characters for Halloween. So this time I did the unicorn. I had started outlining the outside border of the unicorn, and then I did all the rest of it yesterday. And then I started in on the fairy. So I got the whole border done and the name, and then next time I pick this up, I will fill out the fairy. So I love, love, love it. I also have the Cryptid Sal, which I may start when I'm done with this. But this is also a really old whip of mine. So probably right after Mirabilia, I started this one. So it needs to get done. So I think I'll pull this out again on the 31st. So yeah, I'm excited to get this one done. So this is on a piece of, I think 16 count that I over dyed to give it this kind of old burnt marshmallow look. And then I'm using all of the called for DMC 2 over 1. One of the days in the last 2 weeks when I wasn't sure what I wanted to stitch on, I spun my wheel that has all my whips in it, and I pulled out She Sights a Bird. This is number 2 in the Loose Feathers series from, that string's gonna pester me, from Blackbird Designs. And so yeah, I got all the alphabets done. I got most of that top border is done. As you can see, I have a little something missing there. Got that all finished in. It's filling out more, and then I don't think any of this bottom part was started last time you saw this. So I got quite a bit done on this. I think it was day before yesterday. This nail polish is Ocean Eyes from Moonshine Manny. It's our newest Project Dupe shade. And then on my other hand, Joy gave me a manicure yesterday, and so, you know, it's a manicure from an 8-year-old. So if you're wondering what's going on with my nails today. So anyway, this is on 32 count that I over dyed. It's just it's a Lugana, and I'm using the called for flosses. They're all from Weeks, and I'm using 1/2. This next whip was way back at the beginning of the last 2 weeks. On the 30th of each month, I stitch on this project because my daughter, whose birthday is on the 30th of September, she picked this project for me to stitch on, so I pull it out every 30th. So this is on Fabric and Flare Dried Petal. And this time I got all of that, what you see on the bird. I don't think I had started the bird at all. So I got a lot done on that one day. And I think I did more on the leaf above the bird. That bird's really interesting because it's like salmony pinks, and then he's got a green stripe going through there. So that was super fun. This is using all of the called for flosses. I did put the charted 2015 in there because my daughter was born in 2015. And so it's on 40 count. I'm doing 1 strand over 2. Call for flosses. This is Blackberry House from Plum Street Samplers, in case I didn't say. So yeah, it's coming along. I pull this out at least once a month, and I love it. I love all the called for flosses. Plum Street Samplers color choices are always just some of my faves. On the 10th of each month, I stitch on my anniversary project with my husband. Our wedding day was on the 10th of April, 14 years ago. And this is Pretty Little London. And I'm stitching this to commemorate our trip to Paris and London this last summer. Not this summer, but last one. So anyway, this is a piece of 14 or 16 count Aida where it's already came pre-dyed or pre-stamped, you know, where it kind of looks like clouds. So that worked well for this London piece. So what did I do this time? I think I was all over in here. I worked on that, whatever that is. More of the Ferris wheel, and then I started putting in the bus down there. So I got a pretty good amount done. Yeah, I love it. Super fun colors. I have Pretty Little Paris all ready to go whenever this one is finished. So this is using the called for DMCs, 2/1 on this probably 16 count. This is from Satsuma Street. I don't remember if I said that. Okay, another whip that I got out in the last 2 weeks is one of my 2 full coverage pieces. And yes, my threads are a full-on mess. You know, it's just the reality that I'm living with this project, because this project is more for the fun of it, and I'm not super stressed about it. So anyway, this is some 16 count plain white Aida. This is Spring Montage from Paine Free Crafts. I'm doing the full coverage version. And I know that Brenda from Handwork Maniac is doing like all 4 seasons. She has the dimensions kits of them. And so that is really fun to see how those other seasons are coming out. And I just absolutely adore this project, especially as I'm getting farther in and pulling more colors in. So I just love all the cherry blossoms. And then now we're coming down here on this bottom side, and we're getting whatever these flowers are down here. I can't point these ones. Whatever those are, that's just so beautiful. So I'm doing the diagonal stitching method. I'm using the Markup XP app, which I could not do this project without that app. If you want to know more about the diagonal stitching, I learned it from Blitz Stitch on Flosstube. And so it's meant to make it so you're not going to have like any columns or rows or anything in your finished project. So I'm doing 2 strands over 1 on this, and I'm just going along in a diagonal and parking as I go. and I just love it. I love, 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 love it. So this is gonna be huge. So who knows when I'll ever be done with it, but sometimes I just get in the mood to stitch full coverage. And it's definitely like a vibe. Like sometimes I want to stitch samplers and not really have to think very hard about where things are going. And then sometimes you just want to fill in some confetti. And yeah. So basically I stitch on this till I get a whole diagonal done and then I put it away. So there is that. The other full coverage that I have is the Grand Library from Hands Across the Sea. Heaven and Earth Designs, as illustrated by Amy Stewart. And that one is over 1 on 28 count, and it's a little harder for me to stitch because the flosses feel like they sometimes don't stay where they're supposed to. So usually when I'm in the mood for full coverage, I pull out this guy. As for the 2 projects that I picked with you randomly last video, we will be doing that again at the end of this video. One of them was Paisley Pumpkin from Rosewood Manor. And every time this gets spun, I'm like, am I gonna decide this time that I'm not really that interested in the aesthetic of this piece anymore? And then I get it out and I'm like, no, I really love it. So the reason I love it is I'm gonna pull in the combo of the DMCs that she's chosen for this fall design are just so pleasing, but it's so many different flosses and changing quite a lot. And that's why I don't feel like I get very much progress on this ever. But I believe I was working in these 3, like getting more colors into there, because each of those has like, it feels like 10 colors. And then I was putting in some more, I think, of the vining there and a little bit more into the outlining there, just putting some stuff here and there. So this is stitched on a piece of 40 count that I over dyed. And so I'm doing 1 strand over 2 with the Cull 4 DMC. And it's gonna be super cute fall piece to have up, but it is taking me forever. So I definitely know it's not one of my favorite things to stitch on, but I pulled it out and I still do want to keep it as a whip. So I'm gonna keep going on it, but it's just slow going. A lot of DMC stitching this time, which is great because you can just kind of like whip along, and the sewing method is really easy with that. So anyway, my other project that I drew with you guys last week for me to stitch on was Halloween at Hawkrun Hollow, and the last time you saw this, most of that house was in. I did fill in a bunch of it and then some of the ground below the house, but so I have been filling in more around the gravestones, filled in more in there. I worked on the moon. Yeah, that's a moon. So this piece is just so totally fun. It's on 40 count. It's on like Natural from Zweigart or something. It's on just a plain piece, which I kind of regret now that I see everybody else's pieces, because like this top one, you are going to be able to see a bunch of the sky. This one was practically full coverage, so that didn't matter too much, but I'm kind of wishing that I did. But you know, this is again one of my older whips and I didn't know my preferences. Oh yeah, I put the ghost in there. So that is Halloween at Hawkrun Hollow. This is another piece that will take me a very long time, but I'm okay with that. Aha, here's my other patriotic piece. So before I switched over to the project that Heidi sent me, I was stitching on my Americana Sailboat. I was stitching on this at the 4th of July barbecue that I went to, and basically I was putting in more of these white stripes and pulling it down farther. Oh, and I think this brown over here I put in more, and I think that I put in the white in the bird or something. So anyway, I love seeing those stripes come down. That makes like a really big impact, I think. So yeah, I'm enjoying this project the more that I get into that sail. And this is from Artful Offerings. I'm doing this 1/2 on 40 count that I dyed. Here's the color of it. So it's green, but it's like a dirty green, a dirty olive kind of. And yeah, I'm not using any of the Cull for flosses on this. I just used what I had in stash, and I'm really, I'm enjoying it more. The last couple times you've seen me talk about this, I've been like, oh, I don't know, do I love this project? And then I saw it finished as a pillow at Country Sampler, and it just looks awesome. It looks really, really good. And they kind of aged it, I think. And they probably had their own conversion of flosses. So I don't know, maybe I will finish this one as a pillow. It was very inspiring. My final whip is the Smith Sampler from Scarlet House. And I saw that Narissa's Stitching Lifestyle finished it, and it inspired me to get it out. And every time Sarah from Sarah's Stitchy Spots gets this out, I really want to stitch on it too. So I'm using Vicki Clayton's silk conversion for this, and it is gorgeous and it is really fun to stitch with. So here's my piece. It's this lovely brown that I've over dyed, and I feel like it's gonna be what, like that wide-ish, about like that. So I still have lots and lots to go. If you want to see, if you haven't seen Narissa's finish of this, go watch her last 2 videos. I feel like it was in one of those. So this time basically I was working on the water, and I think I probably filled out this bottom border of the grass and probably put in this guy over there, and maybe that little dog or whatever that is, but then mostly just the water and the side of this. So the swan's gonna go right in here. Maybe next time I get it out, I'll put in the swan. So this is on 40 count. So I'm doing 1/2 with the Vicki Clayton silks, and this is Smith Sampler from Scarlet House. And it's so fun, and it has one of the craziest borders. So that is my final whip. So I have not been shopping for cross stitch supplies, so I have no acquisitions to share with you today. So we're gonna get right into plans. So I have certain projects that I stitch on specific days of the month. As today is the 14th when I'm filming this. I actually have no specific days all the way until the 21st. So next Sunday I'll be stitching on this project, Fractor Flowers from Kathy Barrick, which is the project that my older daughter picked out for me to stitch on her birthday. So every 21st of the month I do that. On the 25th, I'm gonna pick something Christmassy. Maybe I'll stitch some more on Winter Rose Manor. I really need to get some more project done on that. That project looks like this. So that will be really fun. And those are the only 2 days that have specific stitches on them. But the Olympics start on the 26th. So excited for that. Okay, so that means there's gonna be a lot of things that you're gonna see me stitching on that I just felt like it. Or I'm going to use my 2 randomizing apps to help me pick some projects. So the first thing I do is I make sure I pick a project to stitch on from my Mania list. So this is my Mania 2024. If you want to see all the stuff I started, or I started a thing on the first day and the last day, but all the rest of them were current whips that I put in there. So I have this app set to help me draw a number between 1 and 24. So they want me to stitch on number 9. Let's see, 9 is Ann Dale. Oh, that will be wonderful. So I'm gonna stitch on Ann Dale. She looks like this, and that was my back to school sale last year. And I talked about my back to school, which is going to be this for this year. I'm very, very excited about that, a Stacy Nash pattern. But Ann Dale definitely needs to get more progress, so that's exciting. Then the other app that I use is called Tiny Decisions, and it has all of my whips on here like this. And this is also the app that I use when I'm trying to find something to stitch on, like when I don't have a project for that day. So Jane Fittis. So yay, I love that project so much. So here's how that one looks. That one is just so cool. I'm obsessed with that alphabet or all the alphabets. So yay, that's so exciting. So you'll definitely see me working on those 2 projects. I'll have progress on those in the next 2 weeks, and then it'll be a lot of surprises. I'll have to see what I pull out. So that is all the stitching I'm going to share with you today. The rest of this video, I'm going to be talking about some books that I've been reading. I have some recommendations, but lots of it's just kind of like reading journaling where I just share with you what I've been reading. And if you want to talk to me about what you've been reading in the comments below, share with me what your favorite whip is right now. I would love to hear. So if you're not interested in books, I will see you back in 2 weeks. If you are interested in some books, let me pull up my Audible app. That is where I listen to books. And I can go to my profile and then I go on listening history and then it tells me what I've been listening to. So I think the last thing that I talked about was Gideon the Ninth, I think. So I finished that. It was free on Audible to listen to by Tamsin Muir, and then I started Hare the Ninth. So there's 3 books in that series. I think the next one is called like Nona the Ninth. Basically, I don't think I'm gonna read the 3rd one. I enjoyed the first book a lot more than the second book because the first book you're getting the whole perspective, well, most of the time from Gideon. That's the main character. And she's hilarious. And in the second book, you're getting mostly the perspective of Hare. And she's not funny. Or barely, I don't remember, but it is also very, very confusing because there's like a recall to something that's happening before, and it's basically like a retelling of what happened in the first book, but it's totally different. But it's talking about the same timeline of events, and you find out as you go that you kind of have an unreliable narrator in that sense, and it was very confusing. So if you've read that one and you want to sound in, it was confusing. Also, if you're, well, for me, this is a book that's about necromancy, but for me, like, I don't know, it's not a very dark feeling book to me. So if you're kind of put off by that, I don't know, I didn't think it was very dark. So it's more, well, this one was way more sci-fi to me. Because like you could tell that there was something really weird going on with why you're getting a totally different story representation this time. And the narrator's just like acting like this is factual what happened, but you're like, what about the entire last book I read? So I liked the first one better than the second one, but you get more answers in the second one, but you're still left open for the third one. So I don't know. I think Gideon the Ninth I gave like a 4, and Hare the Ninth I give maybe like a 3.5. It was confusing, but it was meant to be. So what do you think? Have you read that one? Okay, then next I read The Dragon Republic, which is the second book in the series by R.F. Kuang, and the first book is called The Poppy War. Highly recommend if you can handle like war. It's all about war, and so there are some really gruesome war aspects, but basically it's a series about this female shaman, and she's like a super underdog story, and the whole empire is battling, and there's these 2 like strong opposing sides. And then as she goes along, she's starting to wonder, is the side that I'm fighting for actually the good guys, or are they the bad guys? And there's a lot that happened in book 2. Some pretty big betrayals, and it's a lot. The narrator, whoa, she is so talented. She has so many male voices that she has to do in this book. I mean, there's maybe only like 3 females that you get like consistently, and she has such a great inflection for all of the different men that she's telling the story through at times. So anyway, I really like it. It's intense. It's a lot of war, but it's really good. So I just finished book 2, and I'm reading that with my brother Oliver, and we'll start book 3 soon. Okay, then I read The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson, and this book was really interesting. It's kind of like, it's not really a retelling of Strangers on a Train, but it's kind of in that realm. But it's so interesting because you have these different people's point of views, and then your narrator will just be killed off, and you're like, what? Okay. And then things switch up, and so it was fun. I gave that one, I think, a 4. It wasn't like my favorite thing I ever read, but it was definitely enjoyable and interesting. and your narrators are not like, they are morally gray people for sure. Then the next book that I read was The Golden Enclaves, and this is book 3 in the series. The first one is called A Deadly Education. This is Naomi Novik. Then I read The Last Graduate. I told you about that one last time. And then I read The Golden Enclaves, and that's the final book in the series. And I feel like this series peaked for me at number 2. You do get a lot of answers in number 3, but number 3 just wasn't as interesting for me from the whole magical aspect of things. So basically the series is about this high school. Basically, I thought it was a university. Well, because they call it university, but since I'm from the States, university to us means college, but they're in the UK, and well, at least that's where this school is. So it's kind of like Hogwarts. They're in this magical scholomance, but there's no teachers or anything. So they're just learning spells. Like, they have to defeat monsters constantly in the school. They have to just try not to die while building up mana to be able to do their different spells and learn their lessons. So they have like a homeroom where they get just like their lessons appear to them. The school decides what they should learn. So that aspect of the book is really interesting. And the main character is, she knows, like, there was a prophecy about her, and she was either going to just like destroy the whole world or save it or something. And she's just a super powerful wizard, and you find out in the end why she is. But the whole time she's just kind of modestly like, yeah, I'm just really epic, and you're just kind of like, okay. But then you find out like she really, really is, and she can do all these huge things, but that all culminates in 3, but I didn't like 3 as much as 1 and 2. So there's that, but I did want to finish it because I wanted to find out what was going to happen. Okay, then I read Lessons in Chemistry, and this one got 5 stars for me. So I've only had 2 5-star books this year. The first one was Wrong Place, Wrong Time. That one, it's about time traveling. Then Lessons in Chemistry, I loved this book. So this is by Bonnie Garmus. Basically, it's a book set in the 60s about a female chemist, and it's a feminist work. It's, it's science. It's about motherhood, it's about grief, it's about identity, and it was fun. It was a good time, and also, a lot of not great things happen to this lady, but it's really pleasurable for the reader as she's vindicated and as she's able to just logically move through the things. So it's really interesting. So I loved it, Lessons in Chemistry. It's also like slightly a romance, but really not that much, so fun. I love that one. Then I read The Perfect Son. This is a book by Frida McFadden, who wrote The Housemaid. So Housemaid's like this. I really liked that. I think I gave it 4.5. And then I read The Perfect Son, which looks like this, and it was suggested as like, this is a super twisty, you won't expect these twists kind of book. But for me, like, the main twist was like when you figure out who the murderer was, like, you'd kind of been expecting that for a really long time. So I didn't think it was that unexpected. I was definitely a lot more surprised by The Housemaid than this one. It was still good, but I'd give it like a 3.5, not my fave. But I still did enjoy the read. Then I listened to The Silent Corner. Both this one and The Perfect Son were free for me on Audible Plus, so that's why I chose to read them. The Silent Corner is by Dean Koontz. Now, I've heard about him as a mystery author, since forever, I feel like, and I'd never read him. And it was for free, so I decided to give it a go, and it was the first book in a new series about a female FBI agent. And basically, she's tracking down, she's noticed that there's like been a rise in suicides from people who, like, unexplainable suicides, and then like the government made it so the people performing the autopsy, like, if they think it's a suicide, they're just not even supposed to investigate it, which, red flag, red flag. So she's investigating it, and there's a lot of bad people trying to stop her, and you find like there's this whole other part of it that's about trafficking, and then you're kind of, you don't find out the why till like the very end. You keep being like, oh, is this the why? Is this the why? this doesn't really like seem like it should be, and then you find out at the end. So I did really like it. I would be into reading another one of his books. You can tell that he's an older gentleman, but he does a pretty good job. He must have some youthful editors to help him out there. So I did like it. It kept me interested all the way till the end. I did really enjoy the main character, the protagonist, especially at the end. So yeah, that's The Silent Corner. I enjoyed it. If you've read Dean Koontz and there's one that you like really love by him, let me know. And the very last book that I'm going to share with you, this one is, I'm like halfway through with it. It's called Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This romantasy books are, I think, pretty fun. It's combining the romance genre and the fantasy genre. So this book, the fantasy elements are that you have werewolves and vampires. Actually, you have like 3 factions in the world. You have the humans, the werewolves, and the vampires. And previously, the vampires and the humans were more like aligned, and the werewolves were kind of doing their own thing. And then recently, the werewolves and the humans have become aligned, and the vampires are like, oh no, is there going to be a war because we don't have our alliance in place anymore? So the kind of the heads of the vampires and the werewolves decide that 2 of their high up people need to get married, and it's like an arranged marriage, and they're basically gonna, they're especially the female, she's, you know, supposed to be like in constant danger. So it's assuring her people that like she's kind of there as the ransom, not the ransom, but like the thing that makes sure that the vampires aren't going to do anything bad, because they have like the main, she's not the princess, but like the high up. And then vice versa, the werewolf sent a girl to the vampires. And so it makes it so they're maybe not going to attack each other because they're worried about these 2 women. So anyway, the reason I like this book, as far as the romantasy genre, I don't feel like it's too crazy or out there. I also feel like the main character, or the main male lead, he's not, I've read quite a few where the main male character does not know how to communicate and just takes forever to say how he feels, or it doesn't feel like it's earned. But this main character, the male, he's so just like with it, and he's not worried to say how he feels, but things also aren't like, oh, we're in love in 1 second. So, and also the author is very funny, so it combines a lot of fun things, and I'm enjoying it. So I heard that Ali Hazelwood was pretty fun because she has a funny voice, and then she also includes a lot of science. The main character in this book is a hacker. She's a vampire hacker. It's not as confusing as like the Crescent City series from Sarah J. Maas. That series is so hard to follow, but she has like mer people and angels and vampires and werewolves and I think like centaurs, and she has like everything in that series, and it's really hard to follow. But this one is pretty straightforward, so I'm enjoying it. I'm not finished with it yet, so I don't have a rating for you, but I am enjoying it. All right, so that's gonna round out my book chat for this video. Like I said, let me know down below in the comments what you've been reading, what you've been stitching on. I hope that you enjoyed hanging out with me today, and I appreciate you stopping by for this update. And I hope you have such a great stitchy opportunity in the next couple weeks. You stitch to your heart's content. And I will see you back in 2 weeks. Take care. Bye.